Did you know that Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch has been not only misunderstood, but also dangerously misused throughout history? Hi, I'm David, and today I'm back with another fascinating podcast. Friedrich Nietzsche, one of the most provocative and influential philosophers of the 19th century, introduced the idea of the Übermensch, often translated as the overman or superman. But what did he actually mean by it? And how did this complex idea end up being twisted into something Nietzsche himself would have likely found horrifying? To understand the concept, we need to look at where Nietzsche was coming from. He lived in a time when traditional values, especially those rooted in Christianity, were losing their grip on European society. In his famous phrase, "God is dead," Nietzsche wasn't celebrating atheism. He was making a bleak observation that the moral framework built on religion was collapsing, and humanity had not yet developed anything to replace it. This moral vacuum, Nietzsche feared, would lead to nihilism, a state in which life feels meaningless. His solution to this crisis was the Übermensch. The Übermensch, or overman, is not a person of brute strength or domination. Rather, it is a symbol of human potential, a goal that we should strive toward. The Übermensch creates his own values, lives authentically, and embraces life in all its chaos and suffering. He is not bound by herd morality or by the guilt imposed by religious doctrine. He is someone who looks into the abyss and does not turn away. Nietzsche first introduced this idea in his philosophical novel, Thus Spoke Zarathustra. It's not an easy read. The book is full of parables, poetic metaphors, and intentionally ambiguous statements. Zarathustra, the main character, is a prophet-like figure who delivers Nietzsche's deepest philosophical insights, including the call for humanity to overcome itself and become the Übermensch. But Nietzsche never gives a straightforward definition. That's what makes the concept so slippery and so vulnerable to misinterpretation. Unfortunately, history provided the worst kind of misunderstanding. In the early 20th century, Nietzsche's works were edited and promoted by his sister, Elisabeth Förster Nietzsche. She was a nationalist and an admirer of the Nazis. She altered Nietzsche's unpublished notes, stripped his writings of their complexity, and made him seem like a proto-fascist thinker. This version of Nietzsche was eagerly adopted by Nazi ideologues. They twisted the idea of the Übermensch into a justification for racial superiority, militarism, and domination. Hitler himself was gifted a copy of Nietzsche's works and used him as philosophical cover, even though Nietzsche had explicitly rejected nationalism, anti-Semitism, and state power. He even broke his friendship with Richard Wagner over Wagner's racism and German nationalism. So how did this happen? Part of the problem lies in Nietzsche's style. He wrote in aphorisms, short, punchy statements that often require deep context to interpret correctly. He was intentionally provocative, challenging his readers to think, not handing them ready-made answers. In a world where people crave simple explanations and clear labels, Nietzsche's nuanced and poetic writing doesn't always fare well. The idea of the Übermensch, someone who rises above common morality, can easily be distorted into a cartoonish image of dominance and cruelty. But the true Übermensch isn't a dictator or a master race. The true Übermensch is someone who has overcome themselves, someone who refuses to live according to outdated moral codes. Someone who embraces life fully, even its pain and chaos, and finds the strength to say yes to existence. Nietzsche admired figures like Goethe and even Socrates, not because they were powerful rulers, but because they were thinkers and creators who forged their own paths. The Übermensch, in this sense, is an artist of life. So why does the myth of the Nazi Superman still persist? Because it's easier to digest a simplified version of a complex idea. It's easier to turn a symbol of spiritual self-overcoming into an image of brute power. But doing so not only betrays Nietzsche's philosophy, it also prevents us from learning what he was really trying to teach. In the end, Nietzsche's Übermensch is not about being above others. It's about being beyond who you used to be. It's a challenge to become more than what society expects of you, more than what tradition demands of you. It's a call to create meaning in a world where meaning doesn't come pre-packaged. And maybe that's why it still matters. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss more deep dives into misunderstood ideas and surprising truths.